Sounding of taps, please place your right hand over your heart. Veterans may render a hand salute. Air Force, secure. Family, please be seated.
behalf of the President of the United States, the United States Air Force, and a grateful nation, please accept this flag as a symbol of our appreciation for your loved one's honorable and faithful service.
On behalf of the Department of Veteran Affairs, the National Cemetery Administration, and a grateful nation, please accept this memorial certificate in honor of your loved one's service. Our deepest condolences to your family.
You can't pick a much more beautiful place than this right here to remember your loved one. Moses, the great leader of Israel, wrote one song that we know of. It's recorded in the 90th Psalm. He wrote this: Lord, you have been our dwelling place in all generations. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever you had formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, you are God. You turn man to destruction and say, Return, O children of men, for 1,000 years in your sight are like yesterday when it is past, and like a watch in the night. You carry them away like a flood. They are like asleep. In the morning they are like grass which grows up. In the morning it flourishes and it grows up. In the evening it cuts down and is withered. For we have been consumed by your anger, and by your wrath we are terrified. You have set our iniquities before you, our secret sins in the light of your countenance. For all our days have passed away in your wrath. We finish our years like a tale that is told. I think there's no more fitting words to life than those last words. Like a tale that is told. Every one of us learned in school that a story has 3 parts to it. It has a beginning, has a middle, and it has an ending. Well, in life, that's our story. We all have the same beginning. We all came into this world in exactly the same way. And if Jesus Christ tarries his coming, we will all leave this world in the same way that Mr. Trevino did. So it's the middle part, what in English is called the body of the story, that makes the difference, that makes a life special. There are 2 family members today that are going to be coming and sharing their memories about that middle part of the story to remind you, share with you the joy of having known Joel. Come.
We would like to thank you all for being with us today as we celebrate the life of Joel. His brothers and sisters asked me to say a few words on his behalf. As we remember our brother, son, grandson, brother-in-law, nephew, cousin, uncle, and friend, I would like to start off by saying that Joel was a Cowboys and Longhorns fan. Among the many hats he wore, he was a proud member of the United States Air Force. He was a landscaper, interior decorator, dog sitter, house sitter, counselor, poet, and had a vast knowledge of the medical field without having a medical degree. He was also known for his deviled eggs and potato salad at family gatherings. Along for wearing polos, this is one of his, and we honor him by wearing them today. We welcomed him in our homes as a roommate and in our hearts. Joel was spiritual with a strong faith in God. He could see what others could not and would interpret what others did not know. We cherish our latest memory during our 4th of July gathering as we sat together playing dominoes. I will never forget getting the call from the medical examiner's office telling me that he was found deceased in his backyard. We still don't know how, we still don't know why. We just know that the man who touched us all, who laughed at my jokes when everyone else said I had crossed the line, who needed rides from us, and who we called when we needed help from him, will no longer laugh at my jokes, need a ride, be called for help, and will no longer read his inspiring posts. Joel is with our mother, father, grandparents, aunts, uncles, and many others who have gone before us. We are never ready when someone leaves this way. Joel was with us for a lifetime, but his lifetime was shorter than ours, and that's where he will be here in our minds and in our hearts for the rest of our lifetime. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Robert, for sharing those thoughtful words from the family. Joel has also touched many others throughout his lifetime, and he kept in touch with them through social media. The best way to express the impact he made on these individuals' lives is in their own words. Here are a few of their comments. Paolo, Joel, I miss you so much. I constantly think of you and send you waves of peace, hoping that they will get to you and you will feel embraced by them. I love you forever, my brother, and my favorite poet. Delia, Joel grew up in my southmost Barrio neighborhood. He was my classmate, my friend since elementary school. He's a former military man, and he's always going to be remembered as a good man. Douglas, Joel touched a lot of lives and hearts. He's a very special man with a heart of gold. Louis, it is so difficult to comprehend that he is gone. Joel was always looking at the bright side of life, brought comfort with his words to those that needed it, and I always look forward to his posts. May he rest in peace. Bertha, Joel was a kind person with a beautiful smile, smart, witty as hell. He shared many laughs and many adventures. Sabrina, Joel was a great friend and with a wicked sense of humor, amazing intelligence, and a warm, giving heart. Veronica, I'm numb and waiting for it to sink in. We were part of a tight-knit group from high school. So many fond memories. Frank, I loved him like a brother. I addressed him as Primo because Trevino is my mother's maiden name. May he rest in heavenly peace. Mary, Joel, you have fulfilled your purpose here on earth. I am grateful that I've got the chance to meet you and call you my friend. And lastly, Bruce. Joel was a shining light, a friend that even though he is physically far away from me, he seemed close by at all times. I can only express my grief, but I share in yours too.
Thank you, Bruce.
When the Apostle Paul wrote his second letter to the church at Corinth, explaining death to them, the death of a Christian, he used these words. For we know that if our earthly house, this tent, that's our body, is destroyed, we have a building from God, and a house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. For in this we groan, earnestly desiring to be clothed with our habitation, which is from heaven. If indeed, having been clothed, we shall not be found naked. For we who are in this tent groan, being burdened, not because we want to be unclothed, but further clothed. Now listen to this phrase, that mortality might be swallowed up of life. I submit to you today that when you got the call that Joel had passed away, I submit to you that he had not. He had simply swallowed up his mortality with absolute life. A life that none of us can imagine. A life that is so wonderful and beautiful that if you could see him in that life right now, you'd never be so cruel as to call him back for even one single love. While it sounds like he lived a wonderful life and a full life, I promise you this, that for the Christian, when we give up our mortality, that which you and I are all still struggling with right now, for him, there's no more struggles. And thanks be unto God, there's no more face mask where he is either. because disease can't enter there. There's no more crying. You shed tears, but for him, God's kept the promise that one of these days, all tears will be wiped away. Having been a minister for over 50 years, a pastor for over 50 years, I'm a professional counselor for over 40 of those years, dealt with a lot of people going through grief. Let me say this to you. Don't try to second guess. What if? Maybe I should have. I wish I had. Instead, relive those stories. Relive those joys. I think from what little I've heard today that he probably left you the way he wanted to, without anyone there. Just go home, swallow up his mortality with life, and live in a way that he has never lived before. Let's pray. Father, our hearts are heavy. We lost a son, a brother, a friend, uncle, and the list goes on. But we know that where he is today, there are no tears. There is no sadness. We know that he has absolutely swallowed up mortality with the most beautiful life that there is. And one of these days, we shall see him again because of Jesus Christ. Until that time, may his memory always be for a blessing. Now I'd like to leave you with these words of the ancient priests. May the Lord bless you, keep you. May the Lord be gracious unto you and cause his face to shine upon you. And may he give you the gift of peace, the gift of shalom, all the days of your life. Amen. God bless you. God bless you now.